Hey everyone, I'm Charisse,
I'm Caesar.
and today we're going to be talking to you about boundaries in dating, specifically physical boundaries. So we have some points that we wanted to share with you, and so hopefully this is something that encourages you, and so we have that to share.
Before we get into it, we just want to say the heart of this, as she says, this is physical boundaries with the intention of pursuing purity, so that we pursue purity with the intention of one day having sex in the full context of marriage, husband and wife. That is the Lord's will for you, for us, and it's not a killjoy. It's not like it's not. I know it's like one of those things like, come on, man, are you putting rules on me? Listen, I'm just telling you, the books of Songs of Solomon says, do not awaken love before it's time. Just like you wouldn't have a fruit before it's perfectly ripe, you bite into that, and for me it goes really bad. For anyone it goes really bad. The point is there is a maturity process, and the same is with love. And when you are having and sex is a beautiful thing created by God for us, meant to happen in its perfect timing, and that is under the covering of God in marriage. And we want to just set you up for that in a way that will be encouraging, edifying, and that will encourage you that you know what, this really is the, if you want God's best for your life, then this is definitely something you ought to consider. And before we get into it, just one more disclaimer is, if you are currently not practicing purity, or as the Bible says, sexual morality. Basically, you're not married and you're having sex. This is not to strike a lightning bolt at you. This is not to say, oh, you fornicator. Not at all. Rather, there is grace in Jesus Christ. There is grace. All He tells us to do because of what the Lord did for us is, when we are caught in sin, simply repent. Simply just say, Lord, this is what you say, and I've done the opposite. This is sin. Just confess it as that. You're not a bad person. It's just simply, this is the process, and then He will immediately restore you. I guarantee you. There's our personal guarantee. It's not even our personal. It's the Bible. It's what God Almighty says, that He will be there for you. So simply, this ain't to say you're a bad person. This is just simply saying, if the Lord has put this on your heart, well, regardless, we want to see the best for you. Yeah. So, without further ado.
So if you search this video, or if you just follow us and this is something that you're interested in, however you ended up here, if you're looking for boundaries because you are currently not practicing physical boundaries, meaning you're, like what Caesar just said, you're not remaining pure, we just wanted to give that disclaimer and share these things that we did that I don't want to say guaranteed us, but it helped us remain pure. Most importantly, it was God, which he's going to get into that. Yeah. But so we successfully dated, courted, whatever you want to call it, were engaged, and we did not have sex. So we waited till our wedding night. So we want to share these things. And if you are waiting and you're about to start dating, or dating now, and you're already waiting, we hope these things help you if you feel like maybe you're struggling, or you feel like, oh man, I don't know if I can wait. So we just hope that this is something that can be helpful to you.
Yeah. And with that, we're gonna get started with the points that she said. We got 5 to share. Point number 1 is the most important. Get this down. Without this, the rest doesn't matter, honestly. And that is to keep your heart connected to Jesus. When your heart is connected to the Lord, believe me, boundaries, they're not even a question anymore. Your heart is connected to the Lord, and He tells you already what is in bounds and out of bounds, and He gives you the ability to do it. So keep your heart connected to the Lord.
Yeah. And so the second one is know your why. So what's the purpose of a boundary? Boundaries to protect, to keep safe. I always like to picture when it comes to boundaries, because you can have boundaries in several areas of your life. I think of it as like a guardrail when you're driving on like a really windy road up a mountain. you're gonna hit that hopefully before you fall off the cliff. So it's keeping you safe. It's there for a reason. So you're doing it to protect your relationship with God, okay? Because if you're not keeping that boundary and you're in sexual sin, sin separates us from God, separates our hearts from Him, because it just does. We won't get into that. It's a whole other message. It just does. I'm not saying that it makes you not saved. So please don't misunderstand that. It separates your heart from God. So it protects your relationship with God. It protects you, okay? Protects your heart, protects your body, protects your soul, protects you. And then it protects the other person, okay? And the protects the potential of that relationship. That could be your future spouse. But if you're doing the wrong thing at the wrong time, like what Caesar said, you're gonna mess it up. You're gonna miss it. You're gonna jeopardize or possibly sabotage that relationship. So with that, know your why, and know that in the long run, you're investing in something that is worth investing into. And so that's remaining pure, and that's waiting. Sorry, we have notes here. So really quickly with that, so know also like that you're not just doing it just because. Realize that why, and then look at like the long run and what you get to have out of it. People just want to hurry up and just get that part of the relationship done, and there's after you've waited and there's your wedding night and then the rest of your life, it's so worth it. So just know your why.
Absolutely. And point number 3 is to limit your physical touch, in the sense of, and what we're talking about, that is more like the lingering kind of touch, the kind of stuff that gets you heated up. Like, okay, if I'm hugging my significant other, and I'm hugging her, and it's kind of lingering, and then I start rubbing her back, or basically the lingering is what gets the fire going, is what gets passion rolling. Basically, when you are even with a kiss, like if you what you linger and you start, the lingering is where the passion starts. And so I would encourage you that not to abstain completely from physical affection towards your your girlfriend, your fiance, but keep it as more of like a brief expression of sincere love, but just that, kind of brief, sincere, and non-sexual. If you're starting to try to get the fire rolling, you've already crossed you've already crossed the line. When passion is in there, the thinking is just going away, and now the compromise comes, and you think it's not really that bad, we'll be fine. Watch the extended physical touch and leading into passion.
Yeah, like don't put too much confidence in your flesh.
Right.
Is what I always would remember, like when we were dating. It's like you think that you can control yourself, and so we'll just give I just wanted to share really briefly on that point was this stuff isn't in the Bible, okay? We're just saying what worked for us. So what works for you works for you. One point I want to make is that I was in my early 30s, okay, when we started dating. So if you think, well, I'm grown up, I'm an adult, I don't need to do this, I don't need chaperones, don't put too much confidence in your flesh, because we kept really strict boundaries when it came to physical touch and being alone, and not a lot of things. We weren't under the covers together at night. We weren't cuddling. We weren't having sleepovers. We weren't going to the movies at 10 p.m. at night. We weren't on the phone at 1 a.m. What's your favorite thing you like to say about what happened?
Nothing good happens past 2 a.m.
Yeah,
true.
I mean,
when you're tired,
yes,
logic just leaves. It's like really, does that? It's not that bad. No,
yeah.
Something happens when you're tired, you're sleepy. You're like, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Come on, it'll be fine.
Yeah, I just don't make it harder than it needs to be. This is a big point also, is like, I just think that people just kind of, oh, well, it's okay if we do this and we do that. And there's something beautiful about even like waiting. Like we know somebody who, like, when they were dating, they would, there's no judgment here, because clearly it worked for them. This would have never worked for us, but they would like take trips together and they would stay in a hotel. And like, I couldn't stay in a hotel with him. Like,
And
okay,
they remained
pure.
Yeah,
they remained
to
pure.
their wedding night.
To
That
their
was
wedding,
that was their first time that they had sex.
So
but that worked for them.
That worked for them.
And we're like,
we would like
cool,
we used to live in California, in Southern California, and we take day trips to San Diego. You know how bad we want to spend the night, like after being there all day. We would want, and then we didn't want to get 2 different hotel rooms, and we lived really close to San Diego, but we would like do the hard thing and drive back exhausted, like at 8 o'clock at night after being there all day, to not get hotel rooms, to not be in a hotel together, because in my mind it was like, okay, we're gonna eventually get to do this stuff. So now when we get to go places together, when we were on our honeymoon, we were away for a week in Costa Rica, and we were in our own hotel room by ourselves, nobody there. Like, it was great, because it's like, I don't know, it honors it more and it makes it more special. So I know you might feel like you're missing out, and there's things that you want to do, and you feel like, well, I'm in my 20s, I'm in my 30s, I'm even in my 40s, like however old you are watching this, older than that, same thing. Like, just be wise when it comes to making these decisions about like physical touch, and like, you know, like, and I'm gonna say this to the women as well, like, it's a lot harder for them than it is for us. It's hard for women too, and I'm not trying to stereotype, but we're just wired differently. And so watch what you wear too. Like, I never wore a bathing suit in front of him. When we went to the beach, I'd wear like, you know, something more covering. And again, if you're like, well, that's ridiculous, again, that was just, for me, it's like, I didn't want to give him more temptation. I wanted him to remain pure. I didn't want to do anything that would, you know, just, I was very careful when it came to that kind of stuff. And like, I didn't sit on his lap. I didn't like, you know, certain things, you just don't want to do that. So just be mindful of that. And yeah, and when it comes to kissing, another thing too, I know some people wait till their wedding day, some people don't. Some people, look, after you kiss and you're making out, mouth open, there is nowhere to go from there.
I wouldn't say anything good comes from open mouth.
Yeah.
Like, kissing is like, oh, come on, you're
We
already
kissed.
like hot. You're already like,
Yeah.
you heated yourself up and like, okay, let's stop. I'm like, serious? Like
Yeah.
why even just do that to yourself?
We did kiss, but I wish we would have waited much longer. And even like 1 month before our wedding day, we said we're not gonna kiss, because I don't know, something about like right when you get really close to like the finish line, it's kind of like, oh, but we're almost there. So anyway, those are just some thoughts. Practical, not practical, I don't know what you want to call it, but I just think that we have to be mindful as women as well, to just know that like men are very visual. Okay, so I wouldn't wear really low cuts. I still don't. Look at this shirt. It's like a turtleneck in May. Like, I just cover up yourself and be modest. So yeah. Next point.
That's yours.
Sorry, I talked too much. I thought it was my point.
It became your point.
Have a mentor, because I just want to really communicate that. It's so important. Have a mentor. Okay, I will say this very quickly. Look, if you are alive and you're watching this, just have a mentor for your life. Like, have somebody who you can call and pray for you and all of that, but specifically in this area, because accountability, somebody you can trust. Okay, and I always suggest that if you're getting a mentor, especially when it comes to dating, get somebody who's already kind of been there, done that. So like, if you're looking for a mentor and you're saying, oh, my friend's engaged, no, okay, she hasn't crossed the finish line yet. Get somebody, you know, even newlyweds, few years married, get a mentor, have somebody keep you accountable, you know, checking up on you, and just say, look, this is what I'm, you know, wanting. I'm wanting to remain pure, and, you know, pray with me and all of that. So, and then of course, somebody who's done it too. Like, you don't want to ask a mentor in this specific area if they didn't remain pure and they didn't wait till their wedding day. So I just think that it's always good to have somebody. I had somebody, I think you had brothers that you had talked to through your whole journey of, you know, purity. And so it's really important to have mentors for your life.
And number 5 is, don't think too much about how hard it is. sexual temptation is definitely difficult, but it doesn't have to be, but it's not impossible. But when you constantly think about, if you're constantly thinking about how hard this is, how hard, like, oh man, I don't know if I can do it, I don't know if I can do it, you're really just setting yourself up. It's like an image like you're staring at a cliff and you're just like, man, this is, if I keep moving, I'm gonna fall. Man, that would hurt, man. Dude, turn around, walk the other way. If you're we know it's difficult, but it is worth it in the end. And rather than telling yourself, constantly rehearsing how hard this is, set your mind on something else. Go running, play basketball, watch your favorite movie, talk to your friends, go watch a movie, do something that will take your mind off of it. But constantly telling yourself about that will just end up defeating you and is a form of self-sabotage. So stay away from that, and it'll just work for you better in the end.
Yeah, that's really good. And if you, again, we kind of said this in the beginning, but if you fell off, like you were working, you were remaining pure, you weren't doing anything sexual, and you fell off, don't give up on yourself, and to know that God forgives you. Okay, He loves you, and keep going for it. I don't want people to think
just
that
dust yourself off and keep going.
Yeah. Don't think that because you've, we did that. Even if you're dating someone, you're like, oh man, well, we did this, and should we just break up and all that? I mean, definitely talk to the Lord about it. But I also knew somebody who, when he was dating his girlfriend, they actually were having oral sex. I don't know if the right way to say that is.
That's
but
what it is.
Yeah, having oral sex. And he told me, God convicted me, and
because the thought is like, well, it's not complete
sex.
It's not intercourse, so it's not complete sex, but no.
God convicted him, and he said that he told his girlfriend, look, we can't do this anymore. And she was like, okay, so if you're dating and you have conviction and the other person doesn't, and you tell them, look, I have conviction, they say, well, it's not a big deal. They talk you out of it. You have to obey the Lord, okay? Don't listen to them. Break up with them. In this situation, this couple ended up getting married, but she was like, okay, yeah. And I don't know why, she didn't get the conviction too. Doesn't matter. The point is that they ended up, repenting and remaining pure the rest of the relationship. So, it doesn't have to be black or white. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just, follow God and pursue His heart. And we hope that these were helpful to you, and that that God would continue to bless your wherever you are in your journey, singleness, while you're waiting, you're dating, you're engaged. We just pray God blesses you and your journey. And so thanks so much for watching, and we hope you enjoyed it. Any last thoughts?
No, let us know of any other topics you want to hear.
Oh yeah, request, because this was requested.
This was requested. So we're taking requests. So put that on the chat, and we'll see you guys next time. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.